request all the speakers to share with the examples so that, if you are sleepy, you can get up, listening to those examples. The first thing is, this session is about innovation triad, right? Investors, incubators, innovators. And the organizer actually changed from innovator to startup. We don't work with innovators, startups. So that's how the session name has changed. But I would like to request Dr. Ramesh Bairapnenu to say a few examples from an investor lens, how they worked with the incubators, scientists, innovators, how this partnership working together helped them identify some great things. Sir, I request you to introduce and please.
Yeah, thanks, Viswanath. Briefly, I'm a doctor, a cardiologist, practiced medicine for 25 years, then moved into the investment world a couple of years, maybe 15 years back. Initially as an angel investor, and now formally as the managing director at India Partners. India Partners, we write the first check, this seed or a pre-series A, and then work with the companies, both in technology as well as healthcare. In healthcare, we predominantly restrict to medical devices, digital health, and life sciences. I know I'm surrounded by people from incubators. I hope I can be controversial. Why I said, okay, before I go there, maybe while I know both of them at a personal level, IKP, for the last maybe 20 years, and then Ramji, part of the IKP, and now at CCMB for the last 5-6 years, we don't have a common portfolio, at least from the incubator's perspective. But we have two companies which came out of incubators, if I have to call that CCAMP from Bangalore. And I'm sure they have similar examples from IKP and CCMB. One company is called iStem, which is a cell therapy company using stem cells for difficult to treat diseases. The first disease we are going after, a disease called age-related macular degeneration. And the second company called NCure, for NK cells for cancer therapy, immunotherapy. Obviously, both the companies are still working out of CCAMP. Obviously, their office is in CCAMP. They're using the facilities available at the CCAMP. I'm sure similar facilities may be available in IKP and CCMB. I think they have grown beyond obviously the incubator requirements. For example, iStem is into phase 2 clinical studies. We just completed the phase 1 studies, human studies, obviously animal studies, small animals, large animals, first in human studies. Now, hopefully we'll be starting phase 2, the top 5 institutes in the country. And obviously attempting a FDA approved trial in the next 12 months, hopefully. And NCure is a little early. We are just in the proof of concept. We haven't even reached the animal experiments. So definitely, when I say, did iStem and NCure benefit from being an incubator? I would say 100%. When I said can I make a controversial statement? I believe there are 1,000 incubators in the country and 1,200 incubators in the country. And maybe in Hyderabad also maybe 100 plus incubators. All of them may not be healthcare. Where I was coming from was, if assuming there are only 4 healthcare incubators in the country in 4 corners of the city, that means mergers and acquisitions happen in the incubators also, the quality and depth of the incubators can go up. Because as these companies migrate, you need a lot of regulatory hand-holding, not at a very high level. And similarly, help on the patent. Obviously, you have consultants who help them, but even to get to the right consultant is important. Sometimes you hire a wrong consultant, you lose 6 months, 12 months. I think these are all the small nuances which sometimes the incubators can guide them. And I think I'll stop here.
Thank you very much, sir. Since you told that you went all the way to Bangalore, I have a pitch from one of our awardees. It's called Lamarck Biotech. They are the first one to work on a biological molecule for refractive age-related macular degeneration. They're working with the Paris Institute, Paris Eye Institute. We'll be happy to introduce and looking forward to. And we note this point regarding the quality of incubators, certainly very important. I would like to request Ramji to share his view from an incubator point of view and also answer, Dr. Ramesh is saying, right?
Thanks to TiE and HES organizing committee for inviting us. I am Ramji Palela, having a science background, about 12 years. I'm in the startup and incubation ecosystem, working with IKP and currently CCMB, and before to that with a core science institution like ICGB Delhi. What Dr. Ramesh mentioned, about this triad of startups, incubation centers, and investors. Of course, investors, I'm slightly adding government agencies as well. The scenario is changing where currently I am part of Indian Incubators Association also as Vice President. So this particular point that you mentioned, Dr. Ramesh, we try to actually highlight the strengths of incubators. Out of 1,200 incubators per se, it's divided by 10 or maybe divided by 8 are the operational or maybe good incubators that are really addressing the needs of startups. When you see the reports like, NSRCL reports and all, whether you really need an incubation, that maybe you can start questioning yourself. And I saw one article, 360 news article about 2019 or 20, how you choose an incubator. So here I'm not talking about the life science healthcare perspective because I hope Dr. Ramesh, myself, we all sector agnostic startups also, we are part of those juries and committees. Why I'm telling this point about incubators in multiple sectors and all, I think the startups first are to actually choose right mentors, as he mentioned, and right incubators. I think we all try to engage the startup ecosystem to identify the best coachable startups. Please remember this. We are into deep science, deep tech. 80% of them are from the scientific backgrounds. They all need tech support or management support or BD support from the people like you. Half of the people here, I guess, definitely they are from non-biology background or healthcare background. So we try to address those matchmaking scenario, and also you pointed about certain regulatory, all these things. I think incubators like us and CCAMP and some of the best life science bio incubators or any other tech-based incubators, we work with the government agencies, regulatory agencies for framing some of the regulatory policies for emerging technologies where India is not ready to clear those, regulatory, certification, etc. So, for example, the stem cells and even organoids, and even we have, for example, AMR based or genomic modifications and certain issues that we have. So we engage with government sectors and all these PSUs and agencies where we can address these startup issues. So incubators in the country, we have a lot, and just to mention, maybe scared, but government or overall the country is looking to have incubators about 5,000 by next 5 years. So China, if you can see, 17,000 plus incubators, by the way. So where we stand. So why China is successful, why we are not reaching to that stage today, I think as Sir mentioned rightly, we have to address each bit of the needs of startups, starting from the prototyping to manufacturing. I think that's where government is also trying its best. I think I'll stop here.
Thank you, Ramji. And I think we all will end up answering to Dr. Ramesh Bhairapan any questions, because these are very important. And in the end, if somebody has to scale up, they have to convince the investor. And regarding the regulatory day for yesterday at IKP, we had a session on cell and gene therapy. Dr. Jitendra MD Bairak and Dr. Satyaprakash Das, senior advisor to blockchain for impact, were there. And that is the first thing, like, you create certain things, but if the regulatory pathway and, the incubator, science parks, they all should actually start from design and regulation as the first step before even giving any, seed grant. Thank you very much, sir. And now I would like to request Dr. Satya. Amazing story, and I want him to present. Since I asked about a case study, please tell any of these 3 stories you would like to present.
Sure, sir. Thank you for the opportunity. Before I answer Dr. Vishwanatham's question on this stage, I should say, as a startup founder in this space for the last 7-8 years, I am personally against the term incubator. Having worked in neonatal health space, Dr. Ramesh will agree, incubator is to keep sick babies. I don't think startups are sick. We are all aspiring. Terms like accelerator, knowledge park. I am.
Excuse me, can somebody check? Somebody checking our mics. Thank you. We are actually checking about ecosystem. We can check the mics later.
Yeah. So, having said that, I think we are also a startup where, I'm a material scientist by training. With friends and family, I've started this venture with the aim that we want to create multiple MSMEs in this country. We didn't want to create one startup that becomes a unicorn, but we wanted to create a number of MSMEs in our country. We feel that's those are the employment generators. Those are the ones which we as a country would need. So it was not easy for us to really go incubate somewhere until somebody really understands the vision. We were a slightly odd, a group of people out from the communities. That's where we were very fortunate. Last week we had an event very close to here by IKP Knowledge Park, IKMC. In one of the events in 2018, I was one of the late entrants and requested a space through Dr. Vishwanatham to get there. That's where my association
That's not the reason
informally started with in IKP Knowledge Park. And slowly we started working, and right when the COVID came, it is like anybody else, we were also significantly affected. If not for we being associated with IKP Knowledge Park as an organization, I would have to let go of all my colleagues and close the shop and wait for COVID to move on and probably reconvene or redo something. But because IKP Knowledge Park specifically came to us and said, if you guys have ideas to address this issue, we all, as startups, are problem solvers. If you guys have something, COVID is one of the biggest problems mankind has seen. If you have something that you want to do, we will support you. They came around and supported. The beauty of it, cutting the long story short, from there, that entire project turned out into a fantastic initiative mentored by people like Dr. Chintan Vaishnav. Later on, he became the director for AIM. And we were able to, through that initiative, train around 500 female artisans across the country in 16 states of India, and around 80% of them women. And during COVID, peak of it, where employment and livelihoods were in a threat, this particular initiative created 200,000 hours of employment. In COVID, it's not a small thing. I would 100% endorse that to IKP being our mentor, because they not only helped us, they supported us by recommending us to organizations like Grand Challenges Canada, where things have moved forward. And another small 30-second anecdote, all said and done, COVID done, we make a product for Indian Army to keep the soldiers in Siachen and other places warm. After a long wait, we finally got an order. And when we got the order, the biggest challenge is, friends and family, bootstrapped company, and we needed significant capital. The easiest thing we thought was, we'll go banks. If there is any central bank here, apologies, you don't want to fund different startups. That's a common thing we hear from when we go to the banks. So we actually went to individuals who have money, who basically wanted 30% revenue share. We were willing to do. But then, because we had to supply the order, we finally got an order for Army, we wanted to supply. For whatever reason, things were going slow, and then I ended up talking to Dr. Dipanvita and Dr. Vishwanatham at IKP Knowledge Park. It's where the criticality of a mentor and mentee get together to solve a problem Immediately, Dr. Vishwanathan took me to one of the nationalized banks here. I am very happy to say UCO Bank in Suryanagar branch here. They actually funded through a credit line for us. A CCE is what they have given. And through that, we were able to support the Indian Army and take things forward. So if you are a startup founder, it's like a marriage. Incubator or the accelerator or a knowledge park and startup, you have to have the right frequency match. Please choose that kind of an entity. And second aspect, Dr. Ramesh may recall or may not recall, I don't know. The biggest thing venture capitalists or investors should do to the startups is be honest. In one of the our kind of a panels like this, I was sitting in the audience and Dr. Ramesh was naturally on the panel. Somebody asked him a question, why in India, life science startups don't get funded and we have medical devices? He was very honest. He said that there is no demonstrated case. Somebody has invested money in a biomedical device and the company grew, investors made money. We'll have to establish a number of different cases. Until those cases are demonstrated, naturally people will not be willing to put money into it. That is where again the accelerators and government support system come into picture. So two things to take away that I would say, definitely we need support from ecosystem. Second, investors who are honest and on your face and tell you the reality are also extremely critical for startups to be successful. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Satya. And I must mention, he just mentioned, very briefly that they supplied to Army. Satya is the first, awardee who received a 10 lakhs for a validation grant, and he was able to clear through Hitex program, TiE Hub supported, and of course IKP Eden, and many others. Army Design Bureau gave a super clearance, and 7 million units were supplied. This is an electricity-free heating solution. So it's amazing, and thank you, Satya. And coming back, I just missed some points about when Dr. Ramesh was mentioning about companies and all. Actually, some of the companies like Inito, Predible, they went all the way to US and completely shifted from here. So there may be, it's not just incubators and innovators, and maybe, and I think Satya also mentioned that we need a lot of cases. We will try to establish those cases. And coming back to the next question to Dr. Ramesh Bhairapneni, he already actually mentioned, whatever I prepared. The second question is about, what are the barriers and, how we can catalyze these interactions from the incubators, bringing innovators and convince investors. You already halfly mentioned, but you can take another example. Or
Yeah. One other gap, I think you reminded me the topic. One other gap which the incubators have to fill, probably as on today, we have the 0 to 1 examples, and probably that's where the incubators are helping. I'm limiting myself to healthcare. When I say healthcare, life sciences, drug discovery predominantly, or medical devices, or digital health. Unlike the examples of Flipkart and any of those e-commerce companies which have really scaled well, none of the three categories we have examples of an Indian company going at least to $50 million, leave alone $100 million. Why I brought up this subject is while we have hospitals, diagnostic centers, that's a proven model. I don't think any one of us are into that space. Or even Hyderabad-based pharma companies, there are at least $1 billion to $10 billion market cap or turnover companies. They are successful in the node arena. But we don't have great examples, not even one example of a genuine drug discovery company going to $100 million revenue, or a medical devices company, or a digital health company also, to be frank. While Innovator, that's predominantly US market, so predominantly homegrown company. So one of the gaps, incubators probably, while we help our companies on a one-to-one basis, there are not many people, mentors / advisors. I don't think any incubators can afford to have them also in their own, on their payrolls. So they should have their own network of real good, someone who has done this before, someone who has taken a molecule from the lab to at least a phase 3 study, or at least phase 2 and beyond. And similarly, medical devices, someone who has sold a medical device in 10, 15 countries, or a digital health company who knows how to acquire customers, cost of customer acquisition and the models. I think that's a gap really. And some of these, I'm sure, some of the incubators whom you say, once they'll find on their own, I'm sure. A smart entrepreneur will find his own. But in case, we have to play a role either as investors or as incubators slash, I agree with incubators is may not be, has a different connotation, or accelerators, for example. I think that knowledge gap, and it's a very challenging because we don't have too many people. Unlike in the West, there's so many people who retired from their active lives, or they got busy corporate world and coming and helping the startups. That is a real gap. Maybe you can work on that.
Thank you, sir. And since you brought few, cases, and then I will add names to that. From IKP, Laurus Labs went to the IPO from, a small 6-member team, and maybe today they're at 8 billion the market cap. And regarding the companies, in the life science companies, medical device, maybe we'll soon be hearing about IPO kind of thing from big tech, Malbio. That is one case, I think, hopefully. But yes, I agree that in pharma, biopharma, in all other cases, there are several examples. Here it is just coming, and I wish if AI hype is all true, we should have actually one IPO by now from the digital health, but I hope it will come. I request Ramji also, to share his viewpoint from a incubator point of view regarding the collaborations and how, we can add more value, or they added value somewhere.
Yeah. So for incubators to see such magnitude view of, startups who can be the bigger companies. Yeah, of course, we all know the reality of, no disruptive innovation is happening especially in the drug discovery mode, or any molecules emerging out of the country. But still, medical devices side, yes, probably I think, next 3 to 4 years, that kind of breakthroughs. Already, from BIRAC, if we can say, 1,000+ products, maybe if you can take 10% of them, they're doing well and they're penetrating into international markets. Even coming to our case of AIC CCMB, for example, it's a 8.5-year journey. The first few companies may not be going so globally in multiple markets. Two couple of examples I can tell. Again, pardon me for quoting biotech companies and medtech here. Oncosemis is one company. Bacterial based and CHO cells based, mammalian cells based expression of therapeutic molecules. The yield is twice the existing industrial production. So the beauty of the company is that about 25 or maybe now 40 patents, I think 40 IPR they filed. At least 25-30 companies they licensed. So they are surviving, and recently about 6 months before or 8 months before they moved to France, I guess. So that's a starting point. So there is a demand of these kind of technologies, deep technologies in the biotech space and all. And second company, so may not be so global, but at least when you are trying to address Make in India scenario, another company is Altheon. Struggled initially for about 4 or 5 years, and Dr. Ramesh also initially kind of looked at the company's portfolio where the market may not be so big and all.
Dr. Surya's.
Dr. Surya Rao. Today, the company simply licensed a water purification system from IICT, CSR laboratory, tweaked with IoT, and made it little advanced version of a normal water purification system to type 2, type 3. So dialysis grade water purification system that is integrated to any of the Defro+ machine that is made in India. Now they got several tenders from government, AIMS, Raipur and NIMS, etc. Pan India, about 80 to 100 devices I think they deployed. Now they are now making their own medical dialysis device as a whole now from India. I think, we are trying to address our own challenges, why to actually import Nipro kind of companies, Japanese companies. So if this company can scale that level, so it takes little bit of time to look at that magnitude of markets globally. So these two examples I can quote, but yes, they're well supported by not only from the incubator perspective, because incubators, the infra may be limited, the funding quantum may be limited, but the connections, as Dr. Ramesh rightly mentioned, you should be having at least 25 to 30 residential mentors, mentor pools to be very strong, and also the management, the team of incubation itself to coach and sit with them and to guide and handhold with them the right people at the right time. I think it's a slow journey process to reach to that level, sir. But yes, we have CCAMP examples and even CDFD is a fresh incubator, but there is one startup really, raised recently $1.5 million, but they're trying to identify a molecule that can burn the fat in the body so that in obese people, just like a vaccine, you can take it so that your weight will be lost. So animal studies are done. Large animals and clinical trials, they're raising even more, another couple of $1 million or so. So I think we are evolving, we are adapting to the scenarios, and yes, there is a lot to do from the incubator side, but with these few examples, maybe we can discuss.
Thank you, Ramji. I think Dr. Ramesh is happy that at least he is getting some leads for following up. I hope you will follow us. I will add another name. There's a company in the University of Hyderabad. It's called Bicus Therapeutics. They make an amazing molecule. It's a pegylated uricase. In refractory gout, the treatment cost is each injection costs 30 lakh rupees for that pegylated uricase, and you need over 6 to 10. It's almost like 3 crore plus, and they actually started their pitch with 5 lakhs. Can we do the 12 injections? 3.5 crores to 5 lakhs. I'll be happy to introduce. We'll follow up. And over to Satya. Again, collaboration, conflicts, and how we can learn. And
yeah, so I've already given one very specific test case how interaction with IKP Knowledge Park helped us. One critical role where this collaboration aspect plays in the entire startup's journey is I've heard from some of the startups within the Hyderabad ecosystem where the founders initially had fantastic technology. They thought their product is there is validation,
yes,
but then things were not happening. A couple of founders I have talked to, they said the only reason they were able to come back, they're doing fantastic today, they're Hyderabad-based startups. And one of the reasons they told me is that when that, I don't know if it is really that valley of death, when the startup founder is in that bottom portion of it, whether to continue or move out of this journey, that is where I think IKP Knowledge Park type of ecosystems are playing a very, very critical role. That's where they give that extra oxygen for these guys, for the startup founders to survive and go ahead. And for the point that you made, sir, that I think is a very, very critical point. For example, you see West, somebody can make a call, place your device in every Walgreens as long as you have it. I don't know if we have maybe the TiE team here should have some of the experts, charter members who could actually see the products from TiE 50 or some other the open mic type of platforms. Make a call and will, all the medical stores of Apollo, MedPlus or somebody else, will they place those products? I think we need those kind of influencers who do it, both on a commercial side and also from a, ecosystem support structure. And that will really help because I think taking the products all the way needs a counter space. And the other aspect that is very, very critical is I've heard of these companies, for example, Startoon Labs in Hyderabad, another University of Hyderabad company, BioVaram, UR Advanced Therapeutics. I think they're all fantastic companies who have demonstrated that collaboration takes them to next level. Specifically in our case, one thing that I found very, very attractive is that I think somebody from Geetham and other places are here. Academia and startups collaborating. Academia has this tendency to collaborate only with large corporations, and there's too much of a gap. But then if a startup and academia-based ideas can start collaborating, it will basically the learning the startup, mid-level startup type of a thing, their experience and the new idea from a professor could really create an impactful outcome in the later stages. Something that we are trying right now, licensing a technology from IIT Kharagpur and scaling it up. We'll have more to hear in future. But I think collaborations are important. But at any collaboration, as sir rightly pointed out, a wrong consultant can take your journey behind by 6 months to 1 year, or it could go in a completely different route. So it's extremely important for us as startup founders to be aware. Don't rush into it. I know some startups who, for the 10 lakhs or a 15 lakhs, they committed for a non-diluting 5% equity to somebody. I think from the ecosystem perspective also, we'll have to get to a stage where the ecosystem is also appreciating the challenges that the startup is facing. And slowly we are evolving. I think we have a long way to go, but then I think it's a promising path that we are all on as a country, provided we have right collaborations.
Yeah, we are into last 10 minutes, and I request each of you to take 1 minute to answer. This is actually the previous panel also discussed, agentic AI, so many things are coming up. Incubators, do they need to have all these kind of things? So, is there a really need for these many incubators and this kind of incubators? Or is there a need for, the empathy, what, you help these people, how you are helping? I request Ramji and Satya to be brief on this.
Oh, incubators, need of incubators, yeah, even I'm part of the ecosystem, I'm still thinking, it's a choice completely leaving to the innovators and startups. But yes, out of my experience, you need some coaching. Despite of your science background, your business actually is of 75% and science is playing only 20 to 25%. Talking about deep science, again, tech also, So in that sense, each of you to understand who are the right team of the incubators, at the same time the mentor pool, the location, the connects that they have, and also the flow of investors, the footprint of investors to that incubator. The way, for example, past 1.5 years, at least a dozen of investors, at least they are looking at life science incubator. That's a good move. And locally in Hyderabad also, when I talk to TiE people and all, I think please look at these kind of deep tech startups, take risks, okay? You are trying to actually, you're not taking risks, to be frank,
Yeah, Ramji, I think I got the answer because Ramji's job, my job depends on saying yes for the need for the incubators. And I request Satya.
I think I've partly answered this question earlier when I was telling my experience specifically, but I think the bigger need is to understand the vision and with which the founder is going. And there are comments that I faced when we first presented our vision for Parishodhana. Somebody literally asked us, you are talking as if you are a Battelle Memorial Institute or your Reliance type of a vision is what you're talking about. Somebody actually made a comment like this to us. We actually took it as a compliment. Glad somebody understood our vision is to create a Battelle. And today, these days, when I go and talk to people, after IKP Knowledge Park understood where we want to be, I don't have a hesitation to present because it's like a badge I'm wearing. So if I'm sitting here today, IKP Knowledge Park brought me to this stage and I'm able to talk. I'm sure there are others who get this platform. So that's where I think it's like a GPS. The way I call it GPS. If you want to switch off, switch it off. But then definitely there will be in your journey, you will need a GPS to put on and you should get the right GPS. So that's where I think the knowledge partner, knowledge parks and others play a role. That's why I see
Thank you, Satya. Thanks to Satya kind of people, we get promotion. And now actually with this, we'll open the floor to the audience and the question, you're free to ask. And I see a lot of TiE chartered members there and all those things we are asking Dr. Ramesh Bhairapneni, you can also join. Add one extra zero there.
Yes. Any questions? And before you ask question, one disclaimer: nobody can ask about the fat-burning molecule yet. I know a lot of people would ask, "Wo kahan milega?" Right? That is not available yet. So that is out of bounds. Yes. Could you please step forward, please, ma'am?
Please state your name and place so that others will understand.
Yeah. Very good afternoon to all. This is Dr. Padmini Chirla from Vardhaman College of Engineering. I'm heading Center for Innovation and Entrepreneurship. And the question would be for any of the delegates on the dais, how a technocrat can really support the cellular element, as sir has rightly stated about the collaboration of tech people into it. As I'm from the tech background, my students, my startups are into the tech. how exactly the collaboration can take up, sir?
Thank you. Good question. In fact, yesterday I was referring to one company, Altheon, right? So that's a dialysis grade water purification system, right? Now they are starting. They are completely tech side, okay? And of course, validation is needed. So biology people they need, tech people they need, IoT sensors. That is one good combination. So he is looking for people in all. And second example, if I can say, being a cellular and molecular biology post ordinary CCMB, we also got funding, we attract funding from ICT interventions in healthcare. That can be genome data analytics or maybe any identification of any diseases through diagnostics and diagnostic devices, etc. The medical component or biology or healthcare component may be less, more of electronics, more of engineering. In fact, for the incubators also, we want our infra to be managed by instrumentation. So you have an instrumentation department. So I think definitely it's a combination, not only for tech and science, but also art, management and everything. So I think maybe briefly I addressed that way. Thanks.
Thank you, Ramji. And there is a large group of incubators. Dr. Ramesh mentioned 100 raised. 78 are there in one group, and you should request Shantala after this to be part of that group.
Right, yeah. I did see a couple of hands go up. Any more questions?
Before the next question comes up, I'll make one more controversial comment.
Shoot, sir.
Out of the 30 companies we have, except the 2 companies I mentioned, none of them came through the incubators, accelerators. So the message to an entrepreneur here, the path need not be through incubator accelerator. It can be direct. You can be on your own. 2-3 people of complementary backgrounds can come together and either you can bootstrap or raise money. So I just wanted to make that addendum.
Thank you, sir.
They should
And
not go home with the feeling that
This
the
is the
path
only
to
way.
entrepreneurship is only through incubators, accelerators.
So being an incubator, I can tell you that recent NSRCL report, that's what I urge all of you to refer. Maybe 18% or 1.8, sorry for my bad memory, 1.8% or 18% of the successful startups are only emerged out of incubators, but rest all of them non-incubator. So thanks.
So one question in extension to what Dr. Ramesh just mentioned. Many times the job of the incubator is to show the mirror in terms of what you can do and also in terms of what you can't do. Because many times entrepreneurs try to do a lot of things by themselves, right? And as you said, business is 80% and 20% could be science. So how effectively do incubators or can incubators show this mirror to entrepreneurs saying that this is your strength, this is not, for this you need help to grow forward? Is that a role that the incubator is expected to play?
Yeah, absolutely. In fact, unfortunately, we get a lot of scientific pipeline to us to start something, bootstrapping and whatever the funds that we also help them or investments that we raise. Most of them are non-coachable. That's the problem. They cannot be coached so serially. They don't actually understand the nitty-gritties. So what we tell is that identify your team, not you're a microbiologist and another microbiologist is a disaster. So you have to have a BD guy. You have to think about the board right now. You have to think about the futuristic funding and corporate designs or industrial designs right now and IP and regulatory right now. But not like, okay, I'll generate the data for next 2 to 3 years and then I'll think of, I think you're done. So I think these things we try to imply in the first stage before they incubate as well. But once they incubate, we run through different orientation sessions and design thinking sessions, all these things in a process, but still they are not reaching to the game actually, to be frank. So yes, incubators will try our best to actually do all these things to change their mindsets towards the game. Yeah.
Right, so bring people with complementary skill set onto
Very
the
important,
table,
very
rather
important.
than unidimensional individuals coming and starting.
Absolutely.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, there are no more questions. One more comment or controversy. While government always pushes from 1,000 to 7,000 incubators, that's their job. And I'm on various committees. I always tell whoever is officers there, please let us focus on the quality rather than the quantity. Even the big grant, which is the starting for any healthcare startup.
It's
Sure.
indirectly asking us, please continue, sir.
Even the big grants, I was telling, 50 lakh scheme was started 15 years ago. That 50 lakhs is too small. Increase the quantity if you want. You don't have budget, reduce the amount. But government as it is. The suggestion to the incubators here is, while these large number of grantees will be pushed on to the incubators to mentor them. Probably each incubator, because they have their own strengths, they should have their own thematic focus. And next 5 years, for example, CCMB, they come from a fabulous background. Can I incubate a best company on CRISPR-based or genomics? Forget about the mass, 90% will be large numbers. But at least if each incubator, with their core strength they have, the faculty they have in and around them, that could be one way the incubators can excel. Otherwise, all incubators are the same. That's a food for thought for them. Yeah.
Sorry.
We will make this as the last comment. There is a...
Yes, sir. So, I mean, we'll take that comment. And
Okay.
there is
One
one.
sir is saying something I have to tell. That way incubators are working, especially the academic incubators, but the funding also, maybe another 6 months you'll be hearing the good news from the governments. The quantum of or seed that they are giving, not up to 50 lakhs now. It can be up to 2 to 4 crores or even 10 to 15 crores. Maybe that's what we are waiting in the next.
I just want to add, like, in some of these programs, they also started, sir, like I was mentioning about Bicus Therapeutics, they received a 16 crore grant from National Biopharma Mission, part of the BIRAC and DBT. There are few things, and if anybody is interested in the grant, sir is mentioning, and Ramji and I were talking, Biotechnology Ignition Grant, we have the program manager there. Apurva, can you please raise your hand and you can actually speak to her? And with this, we had actually last question. Yeah, please.
Check. Yes.
Hi panelists, thank you for your time. So my name is Apurv. I had my question for Dr. Amish. Sir, you said we don't have companies, developing and doing the clinical trials. So I wanted to know if, as a founder, we want to we want to work on something, a drug development stage. So how should we choose which investor to approach? Because even VC firms have a fund cycle, right? And mostly the R&D and development stage takes a lot of time. So how should we, as founders, try to find the right investor who will be having a long span for investment and to get a right partner for us?
To be frank, there's none in the country.
Congratulations. Another bomb dropped.
But having said that, the investors raise money from someone else. They have to give back the money to the investors. So average lifespan of an VC is around 10 years. And 10 years very difficult for any. So if you are choosing a particular investor, as on today, many people say, I will invest in healthcare. But for them, healthcare is digital health, not life sciences. You qualify them, are they investing in life sciences? And also see whether you can reach an investor who just raised money. If they invest in the first year, they have at least 10 years lifespan or 12 years lifespan. If they are investing in the 4th year or 5th year, it's very difficult for them to invest in a pre-revenue or a proof of concept. So when you're investing, make sure the healthcare investor investing in life sciences. I'm sure that's not that difficult for you with Perplexity and Grok and ChatGPT. And the second one was invest in the first year of the early part of their investment. But having said that, raising money from a drug discovery company anywhere in the world is tough. Even in phase 2 assets, phase 2 clinical trials assets, people from Boston or from Cambridge, London, they're finding it difficult. So if you want to step into that, I congratulate you for your guts and your passion. But it's a long journey. But if you are perseverance and you are fully into it, I'm sure you'll succeed. But the challenges will be many, but I'm sure you'll succeed.
Right. Okay. That was very interesting, because the cycle being very long and the investors always trying to see the end of the tunnel at some point in time in terms of returns, maybe they won't be aligned. So is there a government agency as of now? As you said, there is nobody in the country. So should we expect in the next few years somebody from the private sector stepping in to play that role? Or
No, but to be truthful, among all the governmental agencies, the DBT, Department of Biotechnology, which all of them get funding, is one of the most is one of the most active in grants, all the way from 50 lakhs, the big grant, the BIPP grant, the SIBRI grants. Many startups have even raised a couple of $1 million purely non-dilutive from the government. So there are sources available, non-dilutive, non-equity based, non-debt based funding for a bright startup.
Fantastic.
So with this, I would like to,
The answer to your question maybe is not in grok or perplexity, but maybe in a conversation with Dr. Ramesh.
Thank you, Harsh. And with this, I would like to thank Dr. Ramesh Barapneni, Dr. Ramji Palela, and Dr. Satyanarayana Kuchipatla for taking the time. And thank you all coming after lunch running.